Manga.
He and I had been dating for 2 years and even met my parents. We were planning to get married in the future and every day was happy with him. But one day I came home from work as usual. He and his affair partner were flirting in the open. The room I always cleaned was a mess, and on the table was an empty bottle of fine wine I had bought him. Oh, what is this? What are you two doing? Oh, this is your dull girlfriend. Pointing at me was a flamboyant woman who looked like she got around.
Yeah. This is the dull girlfriend I've been using because she's got money.
I'm your dull girlfriend? Then, as if mocking me, the woman smirks. Hey, did you know your only value was money? Because you buy everything. I was able to use the extra money to eat good food with them and go vacations together.
What an idiot. She didn't even notice.
Both of them made fun of me right in front of me. I found myself in disbelief, wondering if this was real. I won't forgive you. I'm going to tell my father. What? That's hilarious. Telling your parents? You're like a child.
Seriously. I had dinner with your father once, and he was real boring and wimpy old man. And you're gonna ask him to help you. I'd beat the hell out of him in a heartbeat. That's hilarious.
What? You should feel sorry for him. You have to go easy on him. Both of you, get out of this room.
Huh? You're the one who leads to leave?
I'm the one paying rent.
But it's in my name.
Oh, I'm going to take all these designer bags. I look so much better with these bags and shoes than you. You're too dull for that. They giggled and mocked me. I had a good salary because I had a good job. So I bought him all kinds of things because it made me happy to see him happy. But when they said all of that to me, I was so frustrated and miserable that I ran straight out the house and called my father. My father was surprised to hear me crying.
What's wrong, Tanako? What happened?
My father called to let me know that he would be there as soon as he heard the location from me. And about 15 minutes later, 2 black luxury cars stopped in front of the apartment building. From there, 5 young men got out. Then they opened the door of the other car, and a man got out. I cried as soon as I saw my father's face. Then I cried and told him what he and that woman had done to me. As I was crying, my father, as well as the young people who came with me.
They're not gonna get away with hurting the miss. They're not getting away with this with a scratch.
And they were angry. Then my father and the young men went into my apartment. I didn't want to look at that scene again, so I stopped in front of my room. The young man opens the door with all his might and yelled as they walked in. They were already gone from the living room, and they were in the middle of having sex on the bed where he and I used to sleep. As soon as the woman saw my father's young men, "Ah! Who are you people?" She cries out and wraps the sheet around her body. Next to her, also freaking out,
Who the hell are you guys?
they both kept screaming. I told you I'd tell my father, didn't I?
Huh? What are you talking about? He's not the same man I met the other day.
He's my father too. He's from my mother's second marriage, but this man is my real father. Then my father gave him a sharp glare.
It's you, huh? You're the one who hurt my daughter. What? No, I...
From the young men surrounding him in my father's presence, he seemed to know what kind of man he was, and he turned completely naked and pale. Then my father declared an order.
Hey, take these 2. No! I'm sorry, Tanako. Forgive me. Help!
The young men put duct tape over their mouths and carried them out of the room. And they were put in a wagon that had been prepared at some point in front of the apartment building, as they both sniffled and cried.
Help! I beg you!
Huh? You said you were going to beat the hell out of him earlier, didn't you? Then my father and the young men glared at him.
I didn't say that. I didn't say it, so help me.
I ignored him. I hope you two get a good punishment from my father. My father is a yakuza, but he doesn't do anything to people and is actually a really kind person, including the young men. He left my mother after I was born because he was the head and he wanted to make sure that my mother and I wouldn't be looked at with cold eyes from society. My mother remarried and became happy, so I saw my father often and kept in touch with him so he wouldn't be lonely. The young men were also really protective of me, calling me Miss and pampered me. So I told my father to just scare the living daylights out of them and nothing more. I also thought it was a little bit uncalled for to tell my father, but I would have completely cried myself to sleep if I was alone and I was so frustrated. After that, I contacted one of the young men and I was relieved to hear that they were both released. I asked him what kind of punishment they got, and he told me they gave him a beating as a punishment. They then took the two deep into the mountains and dug a hole right in front of them. Apparently, both of them passed out in fear. And when the two woke up, they took them to the office and asked if they still want to be punished or pay me alimony. They both got down on their knees and apologized, crying, saying they would pay me as much as they could, so they settled for 10 million each. As for him, he collected the money by borrowing as much as he could with the cash he had on hand, and when that wasn't enough, they agreed to collect the other half from the company's payroll. The woman didn't have any cash at all, so she borrowed as much money as she could, but that wasn't enough, so she got a job at the bathhouse.
I've been pretty gentle with him,
my father said. And he's right. If a man like that gets serious, they wouldn't have gotten out alive. The young men.
You sure, miss? I can hurt him more.
They said that, but I can't go that far. No, that's enough. I mean, it wasn't good of me either. I involved my father in my problems with that guy, even if it was the spur of the moment.
It's not your fault, miss. I can't forgive him as the same man.
The young men comforted me. After that, a mutual acquaintance of ours talked to him because they work at the same place, and since the acquaintance hadn't heard anything about me from him recently. You don't talk about Tanako recently. Did you guys break up? When a colleague asked him casually.
I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
He screamed and passed out, bubbling from his mouth. It must have been really traumatizing for him. When I dug a hole in the mountain, they said they weren't actually going to bury them, but if a group of men did that to me, I'd be scared too. I heard that Akko is desperately trying to make money as a bubble girl. She can't leave the business, no matter how she hates it, until she pays off her debt to me. There's no way she can see his lover either. She probably regrets it now, although it's too late. I should have taken revenge on my own, thinking it was a bad idea to get my father involved in this. But I was relieved those two who laughed and mocked me so much, they got their punishments.
Thank you for watching all the way to the end. What did you think of today's episode? Leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on today's story. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe.